For our viewers in Maras. Now the situation of Maras is worse than Gaziantep or any other province in this entire area.
It is all crushed.
It has all crushed.
Half of the city crushed down
Huh.
in just 60 seconds.
In just 60 seconds.
At 15 past 4 in the morning.
Look at the condition of these cars. You know, the buildings have fallen, the concrete structure have fallen on these cars, and you can see the rescue work is still going on there. I can see many JCB machines here. People are saying the entire geography, the entire design of this area has got changed. The destruction has happened on such a level.
Half of the city crushed down in just 60 seconds.
Reporting from the center of the city. Behind me you can see this publicity board which is not operational. It's written there, Pkrevenue, Maras, Cosmopolitan. So Pkrevenue, Maras is one cosmopolitan city of Turkey, completely destructed, devastated.
Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. It's a moment of pride, ladies and gentlemen, when Asia's largest aero show starts yet again in its 14th edition. But this time around, it is about giving flight to a billion dreams. And when the Surya Kiran soared past, one thought as much that India, your time has come. This is Aero Show 2023, and clearly, this time around, we have set the benchmark. The benchmark is that India needs to become Atmanirbhar in defense, not just become self-sufficient for its defense needs in the near future, but more importantly, become a market for the world. That's the idea. Make in India, make for the world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 14th edition of Asia's largest aero show, Aero India 2023 in Bengaluru. This 5-day event includes aerial displays by aircraft and helicopter, along with a large exhibition and trade fair of aerospace and defense companies. The theme of Aero India 2023 is the runway to a billion opportunities. Now, during his inaugural address, the Prime Minister outlined a goal to increase India's defense exports to $5 billion by 2024-2025. Now, Asia's largest aero show, a runway to a billion opportunities. How is it being set up? What is so special this time? Why is it bigger and better, and why is there so much more hope for Bharat? 809 companies are showcasing their capabilities. 98 nations are taking part in the Aero show. 32 defense ministers in attendance. 73 CEOs of global and Indian OEMs, that is original equipment manufacturers, are participating, and the aim is to eventually get them to make in India but make for the world. Now the agenda is ink 251 MOUs, 251 MOUs worth rupees 75,000 crore. That's when we are going to be able to make nearly $5 billion worth of defense exports by 2024-2025. That's what the Prime Minister has set as the goal. Now, can we achieve it? It's up to us. A lot of work has been done towards not just setting up defense corridors, but also encouraging manufacturing in the defense sphere. Now, India's prowess at display. Now, have a look at what was on display today. The light combat helicopter Prachand. That's on display at the Aero India 2023. It will serve as a platform for made in India weapons, with the light combat helicopter Prachand leading the way. Inducted into the Indian Air Force in October last year, this light combat helicopter Prachand is India's indigenously developed light combat helicopter. The LCH Prachand is a 5.8-ton class combat helicopter with potent ground attack and aerial combat capability. The Prachand can fly at a maximum speed of 288 kilometers per hour and has a combat radius of 500 kilometers, which can go up to a service ceiling of 21,000 feet, making it ideal to operate even at terrain like Siachen. It possesses modern stealth characteristics and formidable night attack capability. Also on display, the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited's HLFT-42. So HAL has unveiled the design of the HLFT-42, which is Hindustan lead in fighter trainer, a next generation supersonic jet trainer in this 14th edition of the Aero India. The aircraft has a unique tail art of Maruti or Hanuman, symbolizing speed, strength and agility. The tagline, "The storm is coming," adds to the dramatic impact of the aircraft and its capabilities. Also on display, the BrahMos missile. The Aero India show features a model of the air-launched version of the BrahMos supersonic missile, along with the BrahMos NG missile. The BrahMos supersonic missile has a flight range of up to 290 kilometers with supersonic speed all through the light, ensuring lower dispersion of targets, quicker engagement time, and non-interception by any known weapon system in the world. The BrahMos can be launched from land, sea and air and has an identical configuration for all three. It is currently in service in all the three areas. BrahMos NG, also on display, will be the BrahMos NG or next generation missile model. According to defense officials, the next generation will weigh almost half as much as the current air-launched version, and with this, a Sukhoi 30 MKI will be able to carry up to 4 BrahMos NG missiles, while the light combat aircraft or the LCAs can carry 2 missiles. And test for the same will begin late 2024. Defense Research and Development Organization or DRDO, they have now developed a medium altitude, long endurance class unmanned aerial vehicle. So a UAV called Tapas BH. It's a tactical aerial platform for advanced surveillance. Beyond Horizon will be making its flying debut at this year's Aero India. Then we have jetpacks. Jetpack, being developed by an Indian startup, is displayed at the India Pavilion to be inaugurated at the Aero India show in Bengaluru. The Indian Army has issued a tender to buy 48 jetpacks for troops deployed along the northern borders.
नए भारत के सामर्थ्य का साक्षी बन रहा है। बेंगलुरु का आसमान आज इस बात की गवाही दे रहा है कि नई ऊंचाई नए भारत की सच्चाई है। आज देश नई ऊंचाइयों को छू भी रहा है और उन्हें पार भी कर रहा है। जो देश अपनी रक्षा जरूरतों के लिए एक भरोसेमंद साथी तलाश रहे हैं, भारत उनके लिए भी एक बेहतर पार्टनर बनकर आज उभर रहा है। हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी इन देशों के लिए कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव भी है और क्रेडिबल भी है।
The Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, or HAL, has unveiled the design of the HL-FT-42, a next-gen supersonic jet trainer, in the 14th edition of the Aero India. Now, the aircraft has a unique tail art of Maruti or Hanuman, symbolizing strength, speed and agility. The tagline, "The storm is coming," adds to the dramatic impact of the aircraft and its capabilities.
I want to ask about the features of this particular aircraft, because they say that this is going to be the game changer.
No, it's definitely going to be the game changer, because it's a trainer which is a new generation trainer. It's designed exactly to fit the area where training is not being done. That is for 5th generation aircraft. The training for 5th generation aircraft and 4.5 generation aircraft. So all of these aircraft are going to be developed, and along with them this trainer is going to be developed, because they are all single crew aircraft in Indian conditions. We like field pilots to get field experience on actual aircraft, unlike in some countries abroad where they like directly from simulator to go into a fighter aircraft.
People are quite excited about its design, because you have used a Hindu god Maruti on tail. What is the idea behind it?
Yeah, this is a question which keeps coming back to me. So there was a great inspirational project which HAL had done, which is called HF-24 Marut, and Pavan Putra, which is the natural descendant of the Marut. So it has the IRST, AESA radar. Its SPJ is also AESA based. It's got MOS. Obviously, it can carry a big payload of missiles.
So it was not just the might of India on display, but there were a few firsts too, ladies and gentlemen. The US Air Force's two 5th generation supersonic multi-role F-35A aircraft made a historic debut at the Aero show. The Lockheed Martin F-35 Lightning II, or just the F-35, is considered to be one of the most advanced fighter jets in the world. The 5th generation stealth fighter has been operating and ordered by a total of 17 nations so far, mostly NATO members and their allies.
We are getting you an exclusive report from the Aero India, which is currently on here in Bengaluru. For the first time in the history of Aero India, we have the F-35, the 5th generation fighter jet, making its debut. There are two fighter jets here that have landed at the Yelahanka Air Force Station. It's considered to be the best 5th generation fighter jet. And remember, this is a single seat, single engine, and it's an all-weather stealth multi-role combat aircraft. This is developed by Lockheed Martin and has several features, which is the first, including a cutting-edge helmet-mounted display system. It also has, it's equipped for electronic warfare. It can carry out intelligence, surveillance, and also reconnaissance operations. Several reports say that there are talks that have happened between India and United States for this, which is at a very, very preliminary stage, but others saying that right now the country is focusing on ensuring the 4th generation fighters are in place, so it might be premature to talk about acquiring F-35s for India, but definitely the US, which is here in large numbers, perhaps the biggest contingent in the history of Aero India, putting up F-35 also on display, making its intent clear that it wants to be a very crucial partner, even as India looks at modernizing its defense forces. All these years it was the F-16 which was a major point of attraction, but this time around the F-35 here really ensuring that people coming here and also for defense personnel coming here, they get to see what a 5th generation fighter jet considered to be the best looks like. F-35 has made a debut here at Aero Show 2023, considered to be the best in the 5th generation fighter jets across the world. What really stands out?
So F-35 is certainly the best from our perspective. 5th generation allows us to penetrate enemy defenses and go in unseen, but we can't do that without our allies and partners. And so even from a United States standpoint, partnering closely with India and other countries is extremely important. But this certainly represents the latest in technology. So behind us, Over here are F-21s, so in the United States we call it also the F-16, so very capable, and the F-18 workhorse for the Navy, so proven combat, proven battle ready. And the crews certainly play a huge role in that. But once again, it's the integration, the joint forces with Navy, Air Force, and all the coalition that makes it all work so well.
Well, from all the identified flying objects at the Aero show to the unidentified flying objects across the world, ladies and gentlemen, unidentified flying objects or UFOs are being spotted in many countries over the last week. This development comes days after the Chinese spy balloon was shot down in North Carolina on the 4th of February. Now, in the US and bordering Canada alone, there have been 3 confirmed such episodes over the last 3 days. What's piquing everyone's interest is that while we don't really have any footage of these recent sightings, the official agencies are calling them unidentified objects or UFOs. The Pentagon, for example, says that the objects were different from the surveillance balloon and they are not ruling out anything. They also mentioned how the shape of one such object was cylindrical, immediately invoking alien imagery, and that it seems to have no clear propulsion system. But it doesn't end there. There are sightings even in Uruguay and China. Now, the recent sightings in the USA and Canada on the 4th of February, US military brought down a suspected Chinese spy balloon. Now, an episode that increased tensions between Washington and Beijing. Now, 10th of February, Pentagon shot down an unidentified flying object over Alaska. Feb 11th, US and Canada take down another UFO over Yukon. On the 12th of February, another flying object shot over Michigan. There was also a closure of airspace over Montana a day before, but no object was found. It was called a radar anomaly. The reason these sightings are becoming a worldwide talking point is because the agencies themselves are not ruling out that these objects could be alien. Van Herk, head of North American Aerospace Defense Command or NORAD, and Northern Command said, and I quote, "We are calling them objects, not balloons, for a reason. I'll let the intel community and the counterintelligence community figure that out." Extraterrestrial origins, when quizzed on that, "I haven't ruled out anything," is what he said. Also, listen into what the US and Canadian authorities said.
We have no further details about the object at this time, including any description of its capabilities, purpose, or origin. The object was about the size of a small car, so not similar in size or shape to the high-altitude surveillance balloon that was taken down off the coast of South Carolina on February 4.
The Department of Defense was tracking a high-altitude object over Alaska airspace in the last 24 hours and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. Out of an abundance of caution and at the recommendation of the Pentagon, President Biden ordered the military to down the object. And they did, calling this an object because that's the best description we have right now. We do not know who owns it, whether it's state-owned or corporate-owned or privately owned. We just don't know. We don't have any information that would confirm a stated purpose for this object. We do expect to be able to recover the debris.
At the direction of the Prime Minister, aircraft assigned to NORAD successfully took down this high-altitude airborne object. To the best of our knowledge, this was the first time that a NORAD operation has downed an aerial object. The object was flying at an altitude of approximately 40,000 feet, had unlawfully entered Canadian airspace, and posed a reasonable threat to the safety of civilian flight. The object was downed approximately 100 miles from the Canada-United States border over Canadian territory in central Yukon. Recovery operations are now underway and will be supported by the Canadian Armed Forces in conjunction with the RCMP.
It doesn't stop with the US and Canada. Another sighting was officially disclosed in China too, making it a bit more curious for all concerned. Global Times, the Chinese media mouthpiece, revealed local maritime authorities in East China's Shandong province announced on Sunday that they had spotted an unidentified flying object in waters near the coastal city of Rizhao in the province and were preparing to shoot it down, reminding fishermen to be safe via messages. Well, doesn't stop there either. The Uruguayan Air Force is carrying out an investigation on Sunday after receiving complaints about the sighting of flashing lights in the sky over the Termas de Almero. They even made a statement saying the Uruguayan Air Force informs that in view of the complaints received on the night of Friday 10th of February regarding the sighting of flashing lights in the sky and in the area of Termas de Almero, Department of Paysandu, the intervention of the Pkrevenue, or the commissioned receiver and investigator of complaints of unidentified flying objects, has deployed investigators in that area of the country to gather information and interview witnesses for the purpose of initiating the investigation. So clearly, there are some things or some objects which are flying which no nation wants to confirm, deny as to actually what they are. We'll keep close tabs on what's happening on that front. For the moment, shifting focus, ladies and gentlemen, to Operation Dost in Turkey and Syria.
Half of the city crashed down in just 60 seconds.
Reporting from the center of the city. Behind me you can see this publicity board which is not operational. It's written there, Pkrevenue, Miras, Cosmopolitan. So Pkrevenue, Miras is one cosmopolitan city of Turkey, completely destructed, devastated.
The devastating earthquake has impacted millions of lives in Syria and Turkey. Rescuers in Turkey continue to pull out survivors from the rubble. Many people have been rescued after more than 160 hours from the debris. While rescue operations continue in the quake-hit provinces, thousands have been brought to Istanbul by military aircraft. Now, let's try and understand the extent of the damage. 2,724 aftershocks have occurred ever since the earthquake, ladies and gentlemen. 34,000 plus have been confirmed dead. 13 plus million people have been affected. 158,000 plus have been rescued. 380,000 plus have been shifted to shelters. 155,000 plus tents have been set up. 238,459 plus personnel are now currently involved in search and rescue. So more and more hands coming in to help. 9,700 plus foreign personnel from 74 nations are currently in Turkey and Syria. 12,000 plus vehicles involved in rescue operations, 26 ships involved in relief and aid, and 150 aircraft involved again in relief and aid. So help is pouring in to try and relieve the people of these affected provinces. 10 provinces overall in Turkey that were affected by the quake, 7 severely affected, beg your pardon. Worst affected areas: Adana, Adiyaman, Diyarbakir, Gaziantep, Hatay, Kilis, Malatya, Osmaniye and Sanliurfa. These are the most affected areas. 7 of these regions have been very, very severely affected. Let's straight away go across to Siddhant, who's joining us from Gaziantep, which is deemed to be the epicenter of this quake, and largely most of the relief efforts are concentrated here. It's about late evening right now, Siddhant. Sun is up just setting on your face. I can make it out. It's about 5:30 there in Turkey.
Yeah.
How are things on ground? We did speak with the NDRF team, and Gurjinder Singh ji will play out that conversation in a bit. You must have had a long time. And what, 2,000 kilometers overall now you've traversed across Turkey?
Well, yes, that's right, Anand. So right now also from Gaziantep, we are moving towards Antakya, and we are going to do some more ground reports for our viewers. But speaking with an experience of reporting from ground, then Gaziantep has been highlighted, but the major destruction has taken place in Antakya, Haite, and Maras. And in fact, we have filed those ground reports from there, where the entire city has reduced to rubble, and in fact, any amount of help is insufficient for these two provinces, Maras and Antakya. And this is perhaps the reason that, in fact, the government here is putting extra efforts as far as these two provinces are concerned. They have bigger shelter homes, they have more rescue teams, and in fact, international rescue teams are working there day and night to remove the debris, to remove the rubble. Also, Anand, one needs to understand this, that Gaziantep is not a very densely populated province.
Right.
Antakya, Haite, and Maras are the densely populated, used to be densely populated cities. So the destruction is more. Also, the lanes, the popular busiest lanes, have completely been evacuated by Turkish army, because government has given this job to the army so that nobody should go back to their homes which are in dilapidated condition. So anywhere you will go in Haite or Maras, you will find people people living in tents.
What is the reason why? Because you've been to multiple provinces. Multiple provinces you've been to. What is it that is pulling you back to Antakya? Because you, in your earlier report, I remember you saying that some buildings have been totally flattened, and there is an entire area which looks flat out, but they were all buildings. They were packed with buildings. And was it in Antakya where you said there are so many buildings which are just standing as if standing on a twig? They could fall any time. That's why they've not been allowed to go in. Also, what is the latest update on the death toll? Is it going to cross the 40,000 mark?
Absolutely, Anand. Look, I personally, this is my assessment that that death toll is going to cross 40,000 mark. A, B, also, the government here in Turkey is deliberately making attempts to highlight Gaziantep, because Gaziantep is less populated, and they have made better arrangements there. So if foreign media comes to cover this calamity, they first go to Gaziantep. But if you really want to know the destruction, if you really want to see the destruction, then the places are Antakya, Haite, and Maras. And this is the reason, Anand, that after completing my assignment, after speaking to Commander of NDRF, Gurinder Singh, I'm moving to Antakya. And in fact, there also one NDRF teams are working day and night to clear rubble, to clear debris. So one Indian team is currently in Haite. In fact, we have a field hospital which is again in Iskenderun, which falls under Haite province.
Right.
So destruction has taken place in those areas, and in fact, the teams of Germany and Austria have withdrawn because there were a lot of law and order issues in Haite, and in fact these teams have gone back. One team from Spain has also gone back because of the law and order issues. So it is becoming really challenging for the government on one end to make people understand, to provide them shelter, to provide them food, to provide them aid. On the other hand, these law and order challenges are a new challenge before the government. In fact, there have been multiple cases that have been registered by local police where people have also been involved in looting, looting the victims of this earthquake. So even government is taking strict action on them as well. But Anand, these two provinces are completely devastated, and it is going to take almost more than a decade to rebuild these cities.
Siddhant, great job done. I know you're working the camera yourself, and News 18's Javed is there with you, so you people are giving each other backup. I would only request both of you stay safe and be careful, and we are rooting for you guys. Great job done on ground, and continue the good work. Before we move on, ladies and gentlemen, he spoke about Antakya. He's been to Antakya. Let's play out that, and then we'll also play out the conversation that we had earlier with Gurjinder Singh, the NDRF commandant.
The best part is that we have brought the adequate clothing for the winters out here. We were mentally prepared, and the best thing is that we brought our vehicles also. The rescue vehicles are with us, and thanks to Indian Air Force, we could transport those vehicles right from India up to this Turkey. That is the reason that we have been effective on ground. The training was already there. We were already mentally prepared to work under difficult circumstances. That's what we are trained for. Hope is the only catchword out here. We recovered the first girl child, 6-year-old, after 80 hours of the earthquake, and the second girl Mireille was rescued after 104 hours of earthquake.
You can see the setup has been made where food is being distributed. In fact, there are a lot of people, those who have become homeless. They are also sleeping on the roads, and in fact, they are also roaming around here. This entire stretch is completely devastated. It is going to take many years for this city to be rebuilt, and in fact, it is going to be a very challenging job for the government here to rebuild this city of Maras, this old town of Maras. The humanitarian aid, the supplies are also being provided here, but the challenge is before the agency is to clear this site. You can see this another debris hill which is of 25 to 30 feet. So this is a situation of Maras where we are reporting from, and we are reporting from the heart of the city. What people are looking for is a hope, and with each passing day, the hope for life is fading out. Antakya in Turkey is heavily devastated. We are reporting from the interiors of Antakya, building after building, complete destruction, enormous destruction that has taken place. And in fact, these areas, these neighborhoods have completely been evacuated by authorities. Nobody is living in these buildings, and in fact there are some commandos from the authorities, those who have been given task here to keep law and order intact. Otherwise, look at the destruction. Now this is the level of destruction, and one can imagine the intensity with which the quake struck the city of Antakya. Now you can see the debris on the cars parked here. This is a residential locality where we are reporting from. The entire multi-story building has come down, has collapsed. The rescue operation has got over there. Then there you see two vehicles, two SUVs have come under the debris. It is going to take more than 1 year to clear all the debris in Antakya because the level of destruction is massive, and more than any other city in Turkey. And in fact, we have also been advised not to roam on the streets because these buildings are so weak. You can see the entire building is vacant. The authorities have evacuated it. This is the level of destruction, and it is going to be a task for the government.
The efforts on Operation Dost continue. Meanwhile, Turkey is also picking and choosing its friends and who it wants on Turkish soil and who it wants to keep away. So after Turkey snubbed Pakistan, 2 days after denying Pakistan PM their visit to Turkey. Qatar Prime Minister visit was allowed on Sunday. The Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, arrived. He met the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Qatar provided initial aid represented by an air bridge equipped with relief and health material and also a rescue team, and was accompanied by a high-level delegation. The Emir of Qatar donated 50 million Qatari riyal for the earthquake-affected people in Turkey and Syria. The Turkish government officials requested Pakistan Foreign Office to cancel the visit of Shehbaz Sharif as Ankara was busy with the earthquake and rescue and relief operations. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto and other officials were supposed to visit the quake-hit Turkey and to express solidarity, but they were asked to just stay back, stay where they are. Qatar was welcome, India is welcome, Pakistan is not. And we stay with Pakistan, get you more details, we'll tell you why. As Pakistan's economic crisis deepens, Terroristan gets desperate to bail itself out. Sources have told CNN News 18 that Pakistan has reached out to the International Monetary Fund again. The Pak-IMF deal, there could be a virtual meeting, and it's started yet again today. So what has Pakistan told the IMF now? Now they were there for the 9th visit. They couldn't come to a consensus or a deal. Now, once again, they're engaging with them virtually. What have they said? Now, according to a top source in the finance ministry in Pakistan, the federal government has asked the defense ministry about the IMF condition to cut defense budget by 10 to 15%. The defense ministry has responded in the consultation with the Army General Headquarters that only 5 to 10% of the budgets can be cut, and that too in non-combat budget. Pakistan to request security partner countries to fill the gap of $10 to $12 billion as Pakistan security forces are facing internal and external threats. Our forces are engaged on the Pak-Afghan border and have huge threats by the TTP and militants in Balochistan and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa provinces, the source has added. Islamabad is trying to comply with the funds, IMF's, tough conditions, and Pakistan is also asking them to request its security partner countries like the US, UAE, Saudi Arabia and China to bail it out of the current economic crisis by depositing $10 to $12 billion in the State Bank of Pakistan. For collection of 170 billion rupees in the remaining period of the current fiscal year, the government will have to impose taxes worth 453 billion rupees, having an annual impact for making collection of the desired amount. The imposition of hiking the GST rate by 1% will fetch about 50 to 55 billion rupees in the remaining period of the current fiscal year. The IMF has also demanded implementation of the revised circular debt management plan by hiking the electricity tariff in the range of 8 to 11 rupees per unit. I'm talking Pakistani rupees. Removing untargeted subsidies under the zero rating industries, doing away with the Kisan package, increasing gas tariff by about 25 to 30% on average, and securing confirmation from bilateral, multilateral and other avenues to generate dollar inflows in the range of 12 to 13 billion dollars. So it's a huge ask, but Rawalpindi will not cut itself to size. Rawalpindi will not roll back on its expenditure to allow reforms a chance. Amjad Ayub Mirza, POK political activist, is with us. Namaste. Let me ask you, what's the problem with Rawalpindi? If they reduce their influence towards the LOC, if they cut down their investments in proxy war, if they are open about and their generals come back and be honest about not making money out of everything that they do, don't put their finger in the pie as far as public work is concerned, welfare is concerned, you think a cut of 10 to 15% in the defense budget is not possible?
Well, as you have already mentioned that they have agreed, they might agree actually to a 5 to 10% cut in the non-combat budget. But even that is not going to happen because the Pakistan army at the moment has no funds to even implement their counter-terrorism plans. They presented it last month in the National Security Council meeting of Pakistan, and everybody praised the plan. They said this is a very good plan, but then the new army chief, he turned around to the Prime Minister and said, we do not have enough money to put this in action. So the army is internally already curtailing its privileges and perks. The CMH, the combined military hospitals, have stopped treating retired military officers, and most of the military from Balochistan has been called back actually, because they can't afford to keep them there. The Baloch Saramchars have intensified their attacks on Pakistani forces. 30 odd checkposts in Balochistan's Kolu district alone are now lying vacant. So Pakistan army is in a very bad state, and they can't even handle a local like Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Pakistani government does not have the will to implement what IMF is asking it to do. And I don't think that this deal is going to go through. Now, the situation of Pakistan is at the moment, like we say, कि 100 जूते भी खाएंगे, 100 प्याज भी खाएंगे, और आखिर में कर्जा भी नहीं मिलेगा. जी.
See, what I want to understand, Dr. Amjad Tayyib Mirza, is why is Rawalpindi so reluctant? Where is the problem? Who's blocking this? Is it not in the interest of the Pakistani people that the military establishment cuts down its expenditures? So much so that their pensions are also part of the civilian budget. So how much money do they want?
They want to bag as much as they can, because the Pakistan army is not in sitting in Rawalpindi GHQ for the benefit and the betterment and the prosperity of its people. They are sitting there to benefit themselves. And the living example is Pakistan's recently retired Army Chief General Bajwa, who has siphoned off more than 12 billion rupees from Pakistan. And today a video has been viral that he has been seen with his family strolling in a mall, shopping mall in Dubai. Similarly, the pizza general, who has siphoned off billions of rupees and opened franchises of pizzas, more than 100 franchises in America. Then there is another army chief, and so on and so forth. So the Pakistan army has nothing to do with the welfare of the people of Pakistan. It has to do with the welfare, well-being, corruption, and for themselves, even at the cost of erosion of Pakistan's economy itself.
Right. Dr. Amjad Tayyib Mirza, I thank you for your time and for sharing your thoughts. But clearly, this is at the cost of the Pakistani people and the welfare of the common people of Pakistan. And somewhere, Pakistan will have to really cough up nearly $12 to $13 billion from partner nations to try and shore up its bank balance of foreign reserves within the State Bank of Pakistan. Is that going to happen? Will nations blink? Will they really pour money into a bottomless bucket? We'll have to wait and watch. And why won't Pindi cut itself to size? That question remains. And is that not a betrayal of the Pakistani people? We're going to take a very short break. When we come back here on The Right Stand, the defense forces of our country are taking the right stand, ladies and gentlemen. We get you this News18.com story that the army is soon going to get AI power. Artificial intelligence will now very soon play a key role in helping the forces with threat assessment. The details when we come back. Stay with us.
The Prime Minister will be visiting pole-bound Karnataka on Feb 13 to inaugurate the 14th edition of Aero India 2023. This is at the Air Force Station in the capital. Now, the 14th edition will include aerial displays by aircrafts along with a large exhibition and a trade of aerospace companies. Also in Karnataka, yesterday, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah was visiting, launched a scathing attack against the Congress. He said that it strengthens anti-national elements and can never protect the state. The Congress has obviously rebutted that. He argued that the Congress has released 1,700 members of the Popular Front of India. Remember, that's the group that the central government banned a few months ago. Now, we'll tell you more about what was said. This was all yesterday in Karnataka. Moving now to Chhattisgarh, where after a long visit to the poll-bound state, the BJP National President JP Nadda will be visiting West Bengal today. The BJP President will address 2 gatherings. He'll also help organize meetings as a part of measures to strengthen the Saffron Party's hopes within West Bengal, where they have stiff competition from the TMC. And now to some important appointments. President Draupadi Murmu has accepted the resignation of the Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari. Remember, he had a very long, full of controversy tenure all the way back since 2019. Koshyari, as we just told you, served for the state for over 3 years. He's being replaced by the current governor of Jharkhand, Ramesh Bes. And now let's back to the national capital, where an anti-encroachment drive continues in Nairobi amid protests by locals. Yesterday, the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal actually came out. He asked the DDA, the Delhi Development Authority, to stop its anti-encroachment drive. He also announced a fresh demarcation exercise in the area. And the MCD attempts again and again to have mayor polls. The Lieutenant Governor right here in Delhi, Vinod Saxena, has issued and announced 16th February is going to be the fresh date for these mayoral polls. You'll remember the Delhi government has attempted a few times now to have the mayoral polls go smoothly. They have so far failed. And former Bihar Chief Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav returned to the national capital on Saturday after undergoing a successful kidney transplant surgery in Singapore. This was in December over the past year. The RJD president was unwell. He was under treatment. Earlier, his daughter, who had donated the kidney to her father, actually shared an emotional post on Twitter about his recovery journey. And now to other stories. We're taking you to Visakhapatnam, where at least 9 people were injured in a mishap. This is at the Vizag steel plant in Andhra Pradesh. Now, the explosion occurred in a conveyor belt which was carrying liquid steel in the plant. 4 plant employees and 5 contract workers were among those who were injured. Meanwhile, the trade union leaders demanded an investigation into the entire incident. And now in Uttar Pradesh, where a fire broke out in Kanpur, in a part of Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh. The fire destroyed 8 vehicles parked in police custody. Local police reached the spot. They brought the fire under control with the help of the fire department. And the cause of the fire is as of yet unknown.
बर्रा थाना के अंतर्गत पड़ने वाली एक पुरानी चौकी, बर्रा चौकी, जो वर्तमान में जहां पर सरकारी कार्य नहीं होता है, पर आग लगने की सूचना मिली। सूचना मिलते ही स्थानीय पुलिस मौके पर पहुंची और फायर सर्विसेज की मदद से आग पर काबू पा लिया गया। किसी तरह की जनहानि वहां नहीं हुई है और आग किस वजह से लगी, इसकी जांच की जा रही है।
All right, and a hand grenade was found lying near a canal in Ganga Nahari, which is a rural area of Uttar Pradesh's Meerut. Now, the grenade was disposed of by a local team of people along with a bomb squad. A preliminary inquiry has been ordered after seizing the hand grenade. And now to Tamil Nadu, where the Governor R.N. Ravi participated in a graduation ceremony at a private college in Coimbatore yesterday. Ravi addressed the students after awarding them degrees at the ceremony. He said India is the fastest growing economy in the world. You'll remember that his tenure has also faced quite a bit of controversy in conflicts with the DMK.
We are poised to be the 3rd largest economy in the next 5 to 6 years. Before 2030, we will be the 3rd largest economy. And by 2047, we will be the largest economy in the world. We have no doubt about it. Even the world has no doubt about it. The world is looking at India with that hope that India is a confident India. It will become the largest economy in the world.
And moving now to Karnataka once again, where Bengaluru FC and Kerala Blasters FC fans clashed. These are both soccer teams or football teams after the match between the two teams in Bengaluru. Now, the match was held at Kantavira Stadium in Bengaluru. Bengaluru FC defeated Kerala Blasters by one goal. The entire clash between the fans of the two teams is making rounds, as you can see, all over social media. And moving quickly now to a story from Assam, where the Assam DGP Gyanendra Pratap Singh saluted his daughter Aishwarya Singh, who has just passed out. We're showing you the visuals. She just passed out as a IPS officer. The Assam DGP got extremely emotional, his heart filled with pride at the very moment. And now moving to Uttar Pradesh, where hundreds of migratory birds actually flocked to the ghats of UP's Prayagraj town as they arrived at the Sangam. This is to provide a beautiful sight to all of those who were watching. Thousands of Siberian birds could also be seen at the ghat. The tourists and locals rejoiced at the sight. The tourists said that watching migratory birds while taking a holy dip was very pleasing. And now to Himachal Pradesh, where the higher reaches of Kullu, Laul, Spiti, Kinnaur and Shimla experienced spells of snowfall on Saturday, while light rainfall lashed mid and lower hills. Tourists were thrilled to witness the fresh snowfall, particularly in Shimla's Pkrevenue.
ये ना एक्चुअली फर्स्ट टाइम विजिट किया है, बट स्नोफॉल जो मैंने देखी फ्रेश स्नोफॉल अभी हो ही रहती है, आई थिंक आपने भी देखी होगी, तो बहुत अच्छा रहा और बहुत अच्छा महसूस हुआ और फीलिंग और इन्वायरमेंट बहुत अच्छा यहाँ का।
President Draupadi Murmu is going to be embarking on a 2-day visit to Uttar Pradesh today. She'll be participating in several events, including the valedictory session of the UP Global Investor Summit 2023. This will be taking place in Lucknow. The Prime Minister inaugurated the Global Investor Summit on Friday, you remember. The President will also...
Back on the right stand with the news that our forces could soon be using AI to help them assess security threats. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman had outlined that India will embark on a vision called Make AI in India and make AI or artificial intelligence work for India. And now the use of AI in military is coming to the fore. It's a News18.com story where artificial intelligence will soon assist the Indian Army in analyzing threats during operations, particularly in sensitive areas such as Jammu and Kashmir. As per official communication, the Ministry of Defence intends to provide the Army with AI-based threat assessment software that can be linked to national databases like the UIDAI or MORT. This software will be used to follow vehicular movement, monitor online presence of persons including on social media platforms and derive links and trends. That's what's going to happen. So what is the artificial intelligence story here? It is a simulation of human intelligence and the processes are done by machines, particularly computer systems. Expert systems, natural language processing, speech recognition and machine vision are examples of AI applications, and of course for the Gen Next you would be aware of ChatGPT, so that is also again largely driven by AI. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, former DG Infantry, is joining us. General Saab, Namaste and Jai Hind. Now how big or how important? How big or how important is the step? The use of AI.
Absolutely, very important. In a technology-driven world, there can be nothing better. This is a transformational technology which will be a force multiplier. Ability for quick decision making, especially under stressful conditions when there's so much of it happening in the battlefield. There it is to assist you to collate the data, to analyze the data, to be able to transmit the data, present the data in a manner that the limited resources available to you, you can use it for your maximum. And that is where the artificial intelligence assists in decision making, quick decision making, and that is what is required in the future battlefield, be it in patrolling, be it in ambushes, be it in decision making, be it in every field. And what with quantum computers coming in, I think artificial intelligence is going to be the order of the day. All future wars are going to be technology driven. Notwithstanding, man behind the machine matters the most. But of course, it will not replace, but facilitate decision making and quick decision making. That's what is very important, because future battlefields with what with missiles and space and cyber, all kinds of threats, communication breakdowns will be there, terrain is difficult, extreme stressful decision making has to be done. You find your people all around you probably not keeping up with the the pace of the warfare, and that's where the quick decision making. Here you have something of a transformational technology assisting you, a force multiplier. Supposing, let's take an example, there are about, say, 14 odd tanks approaching you, and your artificial intelligence has been able to pick all 14 of them, and you have just about 16 missiles with you left. And there it is. It tells you exactly what range they are, how will you engage, at what range will you engage, and how quick and when this should be done. And there it is. You still are left with 2 missiles. It's all 14 tanks knocked off by the 14 missiles. So that is where artificial intelligence plays a major role in decision making. I think the Army has rightly, the right step taken to absorb this technology and to be able to assist and what with its linkages, like you rightly said, UIDI, MOD, all of it, and nothing but, I would still say, not total replacement of decision making, but certain routine, duties can be taken on by the artificial intelligence.
But who writes the code and who controls it? Because AI has this whole ability to evolve on its own. So tomorrow will AI outthink and will try and override strategy? Because sometimes what happens is not everything as it seems to be. So there could be a threat assessment that the AI tomorrow could come out if there is a lot of code words or hot words which are being used, and it flags off that something could happen. But at the end of the day, it boils down to that human understanding and that human experience which says, no, these are conversations and this is a clear threat. So when you look at human versus artificial intelligence, if you have to pick, what would you pick? Is that going to again create a further trouble, further problem?
See, that is where the human mind is very important. The commanders, the decision makers, that is where they assess, yes, under normal circumstances, this is what it is. The artificial intelligence, the word is artificial intelligence. The word is quantum computers. Everything is all, processes are through machines. And therefore, human mind overrides all of it. It helps you in a decision making so that it quickly assesses, because in war, what is stressful is the time and the terrain. Both of them are absolutely important. And that is where I think what you have said is a challenge. That is where a human mind must be able to say, well, so much, yes, I know my normal experience that this is what is happening, this is where it is, and this is where the inputs are coming in, this is where the analysis, presentation, and quick decision. You take on the enemy at the right spot at the right time. The technology, this is the transformational technology, and a force multiplier. The commanders must use it for the quick decision making.
General Sanjay Kulkarni, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for your time. Quickly moving on, ladies and gentlemen, the Russia-Ukraine conflict is nearing a year since its commencement. February 24th marks one whole year, and it just looks like it's also moving up to a different level altogether. We talk about technology. A dramatic video shows the moment when a Russian maritime drone saw an unmanned surface vehicle, so not an aerial vehicle, but a surface vehicle, inflicted major damage on a key Ukrainian bridge connecting to Moldova. The unmanned object is seen in the water, approaching at a high speed in the dark, and then a huge explosion then suddenly erupts. This video has actually gone viral. This is dated, and if you can see the time code, Friday around 7:20 p.m. local time. Somebody is watching it on their screen, then they can see it. They can see that object racing towards the bridge and crashing against one of the pillars. This is a very, very important railway line, a narrow one, just about 8 kilometers away from Moldova. And this is the line that connects all of Odessa to the rest of Ukraine. Now, some reports say it was an underwater drone. Others believe the footage visibility shows it could be a USV or an uncrewed, unmanned surface vehicle or something called a drone boat. So what are drone boats? Boats and ships that operate on water surface, can be remotely controlled by a person thousands of kilometers away. These drone boats can travel thousands of kilometers with no crew, spend weeks at sea, and they can patrol large swaths of the coastline. And analysts say new drone boats can change naval warfare, the face of it altogether. Now, has Russia got a huge supply of these drone boats from another nation? Those are all speculations, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get you the details as and when we get the confirmed reports. But before we wind up this edition of The Right Stand, something to cheer. If it was 750 girl students who put Azadi Sat into orbit, now competing with 60 plus other teams worldwide, Basudeba Bhoi, Sai Akshara Vemuri, Siddhant Ghosh, Akshanya Das, Akash Chitireni and Om Padhi will represent India in the NASA Human Exploration Rover Challenge 2023. The 6 students from the Young Tinker Educational Foundation have been chosen to take part in the NASA Human Exploration Rover Challenge, and this is part of the build-up to the Artemis project in 2024. They will actually be traveling to the USA in April 2023 to represent India. The last time India was participating in this in 2021, we came third among 60 plus nations. This time, they want to be right there on top. Have a listen to the short interaction I had with some of these students. Congratulations to all of you. I'm so proud. You people are such bright minds. You're building a rover that is going to perhaps go to the moon on that the Artemis project, isn't it? That's what they're working towards in 2024. थोड़ा बहुत मुझे पता है, बाकी आप बताओ. Anil, tell us how did this happen?
तो ये जो प्रोजेक्ट है ये एक एनुअल इवेंट होता है और इसमें हम लोगों ने 2021 से पार्टिसिपेट करना शुरू किया था और तब यही था कि स्कूल के बच्चों से एक ऐसा रोवर बनाना एक समय में अनथिंकेबल होता था कि स्कूल के बच्चे ऐसे बना सकते हैं क्या। और तब हमने सोचा था कि यदि दूसरे देशों के लोग यदि बना के इस एनुअल इवेंट में पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं तो हमारे देश से बच्चे क्यों नहीं निकल सकते हैं। और वही हमारा शुरू हुआ जब कोविड हुआ था और तब हम लोगों ने बच्चों को रिमोटली कनेक्ट करना शुरू किया था। उड़ीसा के एक गांव से बैठकर, एक आइलैंड गांव में बैठकर हम लोगों ने इसको सोचा था तब, और तब इस टीम की हम लोगों ने शुरुआत की थी।
तो आकांक्षा, टेक इट अवे। आई बिलीव यू आर द कम्युनिकेशंस लीड इन द टीम।
जी सर।
तो बताइए क्या है ये प्रोजेक्ट, आप लोग क्या बनाने वाले हैं?
ये जो कंपटीशंस है ये नासा HER से ह्यूमन एक्सप्लोरेशन रोवर पावर रोवर बना रहे हैं हम लोग, जो कि एक रोवर हम डिजाइन कर रहे हैं जो कि ह्यूमन पावर्ड होगा। मतलब उसको ह्यूमन मतलब इंसान के द्वारा ही ये चलेगा। तो ये जो हमारा रोवर है उसमें इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स नहीं है, सिर्फ मैकेनिकल थिंग्स ही हैं। और मैं इस टीम में, हम सारे जो टीम में 6 मेंबर्स है वो हम सारे सब टीम में काम कर रहे हैं। जैसे कि मैं कम्युनिकेशन लीड में हूँ, कोई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग लीड, कोई प्रोटोटाइप लीड, जैसे कि कोई डिज़ाइन लीड, फिर सारे दूसरे सब टीम में काम कर रहे हैं। और मेरा काम है टीम में सारे को कम्युनिकेट करना, मार्केटिंग और कैसे रोवर होगा, ये सारे कम्युनिकेशन थिंग्स में
आप कर रहे हैं। तो आप बताइए, सब आपके साथ सबसे ज्यादा कौन कम्युनिकेट करता है?
जो दो मेरे पास है वो दोनों ज्यादा कम्युनिकेट करते हैं।
ज्यादा कम्युनिकेट करते हैं। और कौन सबसे कम कम्युनिकेट करता है?
सिद्धार्थ।
सिद्धांत
बोलेगा अभी।
Why Siddhant? What is your role in the project?
So I'm the design lead, so I spend most of my time scouring behind my computer on CAD software, writing out part of the report and whatnot. So don't really get to say much, just send stuff, get stuff back.
You're going to be leading the design, so everything hinges on your presentation, doesn't it? Your design. How have you thought of? Are you still working on the design, or you think you've more or less got the construct of how it should look, how the project should look?
Well, the design is, first of all, it's really a team effort. Like everyone contributes to the design. We have long discussions about every single subsystem. But now as we head towards the operational review report, we've pretty much finalized the design that we're going to show NASA. So there are 2 reports. One is a design review report that's happened earlier, which is where we were selected and we were able to go on to this round where we finalize the design and present that to NASA.
Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. The governors of a dozen states were changed by the Modi government, but one in particular has been the subject of a big political attack. Retired Supreme Court Judge S. Abdul Nazir was appointed governor of Andhra Pradesh, but the opposition has taken exception to it, saying that he's being rewarded for being part of the Ram Janmabhoomi judgment bench. Justice Nazir has been part of many benches and judgments, and in many cases he's also been the dissenting judge. Why is the opposition overlooking his competence to occupy high constitutional office like that of the governor? Or should the government have taken heed and given off a cooling off period of at least 6 months before appointing a judge as governor? Or are these post-retirement posts now being a lure for members of the Supreme Court? But first, the story.
Who have served in the apex judiciary, should they be accepting such post-retirement sinecures.
जिन्होंने आपके बारे में फेवर किया उनको कुछ ना कुछ फेवर आप कर रहे हो.
Congress party itself had laid down the convention of giving positions to the retired judges. Some allegations on such appointment, I think it is not proper on the part of any political party.
अगर कोर्ट में फैसला पक्ष में नहीं आया तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट को गाली देगा, उसकी आलोचना कर देगा.
So a governor is appointed or dismissed by the President of India, and since the President acts on the aid and advice of the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, in effect, the governor is appointed and removed by the central government. There are certain conditions laid down in Articles 157 and 158 to appoint a president. They have to be citizens of India, they should be at least 35 years of age, they cannot be members of parliament or any state legislature, and they must not hold any other office of profit at the time of appointment as governor. Now, Justice Nazir's appointment as governor of Andhra Pradesh is not the first such instance. In fact, it is the fourth such case in the history of independent India. He was appointed as governor of Andhra Pradesh about a month or so after he retired as a Supreme Court judge. Back in 2014, Justice Sadasivam was appointed as governor of the state of Kerala just months after he had retired as the Chief Justice of India. Justice Fatima Bibi, way back in the 90s, was made governor of the state of Tamil Nadu by the H.D. Devegowda government. This was back in 1997. This was 5 years after her retirement from the Supreme Court. And Justice Syed Fazal Ali was made governor of Odisha a month after he retired as the Supreme Court judge in 1952, and later as Assam governor when Jawaharlal Nehru was Prime Minister. Then there is, of course, the case of Justice Hidayatullah, who served as the acting president while he was still the Chief Justice of India. The first time happened to be in 1969, when then President Zakir Hussain passed away while he was in office. Then Vice President V.V. Giri assumed the president's office as acting president, but in order to contest for the 1969 presidential elections, V.V. Giri had to resign from both positions, and Justice Hidayatullah was elevated as president. Then again in 1982, when President Zail Singh traveled to the United States for a heart surgery, Justice Hidayatullah once again served as acting president of India for a few weeks. Now, Justice Nazir was elevated to the Karnataka High Court bench at a very early age of 45. He spent 14 years at the High Court before his appointment as a Supreme Court judge on the proposal of a collegium that was led by then Chief Justice of India, J.S. Keher. This was back in 2017. Justice Nazir was not even a Chief Justice at a High Court when he was elevated to the Apex Court. He was the fourth senior most amongst the judges of the High Courts at that point of time. He went on to be part of several momentous judgments delivered by the Supreme Court. He was, of course,